Welcome back to Monkey Valley, guys. It's excellent to have you here again. My name's Peter Daniel, and I'm going to show you today how to make some amazing chocolate that's healthy for you, that tastes awesome, and that you're going to absolutely love. Now, I know some of you out there are already going, he's totally lost the plot. Last week we were having aloe and smoothies that were just weird, and today he's telling us the chocolate's healthy. Just hang with us for a minute, and you'll see that it's actually amazing stuff. Okay, so I've got all the ingredients out, but before I start that, let's just talk about chocolate for a minute. Why do most people think that chocolate is a poison, is unhealthy? Why is it that we're all scared of eating chocolate because we think it's going to make us fat or ill? There are actually reasons for that. Now, chocolate, the way it's meant to be eaten, no one actually eats. And 80% of the world's population actually eats cacao, but no one eats the actual food that cacao comes from. Now, that is amazing, but most people don't know that. What I'm going to do is show you the original food. That is a cacao bean. Did anyone know that cacao comes from a bean that grows in the Amazon or in Central Africa? Now, this bean grows in a fruit pod about the size of a small watermelon, and inside you've got these bright purple beans. Can you see that color in there? It is spectacular purple. So chocolate is not a brown food, it is a purple food. Now, for those who know about color, they're already starting to get alarm bells ringing, going, okay, purple, that's good. We like the color purple. Purple is something we need to get into our diet. Now, if we look at our ingredients on the table here, we've got a whole bowl of the cacao beans. We have the cacao powder, and the cacao powder is the bean that gets cold pressed to extract the cacao butter, which is the fat. We have some cacao butter here. You can see that yellow cacao butter. This is the stuff you get in really expensive cosmetics. Amazing for your skin. So that then gets fine ground into powder, and this is the powder we're going to be using. Now, this is raw, organic cacao powder. This is not cocoa powder that you normally find in the shop. We have to be clear about that. Cocoa powder is a very different thing. It comes from the same bean, but the process it goes through destroys pretty much 90% of the nutritional value. Using this form of chocolate is the way to get the health benefits of chocolate. If you use another form of chocolate, it's not going to give you the health benefits, especially if it's full of dairy and sugar and trans fats and all that other rubbish. Okay. So what are we going to do with all of this? How are we going to turn it into chocolate? How do we make chocolate? We just get a bag with pretty colors in a shop and tear it open, and that's a chocolate. Well, today you're going to see exactly how that happens, and getting you into making your own, because really that's the ultimate thing. You buy the ingredients, you take it home, you make your own chocolate, which is awesome. Okay, so we're going to take the powder, but we need something to set it. You can see that the bean is quite hard inside. It has the fat in there. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the fat, and what happens is you end up with the cacao butter. I showed you a little earlier, that's the butter there. Now, the cacao butter is hard at room temperature, but we've melted it down using some hot water. We've just put it into the bowl, put that in some hot water, and then melted the cacao butter. Yeah. Now, what we're going to mix with that to give it a creamy taste is some coconut oil. So the coconut oil we've already melted down to. Below 26 degrees Celsius, coconut oil is solid, so you're going to need to melt that down as well. So we melted that down already. We're going to blend the two together in the bowl. We're going to add the chocolate powder to it, and then we need to add something sweet because you need to like the taste of your chocolate. If you just wanted 100% dark bitter chocolate with no sweetness, then you can just mix those. But everyone's going to need a little bit of sweetness for the chocolate. It's very bitter. So the sweetener, we have 3 to choose from here today. And these are the 3 that I generally use because they are the healthier types of sweeteners. You'll never find any kind of refined white sugar. Refined white sugar is not what we're going to be wanting to use for our chocolates. Okay? So my favorite one is raw, unprocessed honey. That's honey from happy bees, from a beekeeper that knows what he's doing and loves his job. And beekeepers, by the way, live the longest out of any job. So we've got some raw honey. Then we've also got some agave nectar. Agave nectar, that's the sap that comes out of a cactus that they normally make tequila out of. Now, this is not tequila, and it's not going to get us drunk. We don't need that at all anymore. I mean, that's old story. But this is a really good sweetener, especially if you're a diabetic or have any problems with sugar. Hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is really just if you're feeling like you haven't eaten and you get irritated and edgy and really want to claw at the walls. That's hypoglycemia. Most people actually have it because most people have eaten too much sugar in their life. So this is good for you if you've got that. Honey is quite high on the glycemic index, so you need to watch out for that if you find that you can't handle the sweetness. Okay. Then we have one last sweetener we can use as well, and that's pure organic maple syrup. Now what we're talking about here is not maple flavored syrup. It's maple syrup that comes from the maple tree in Canada, and it comes out the bark, and we end up with it in a bottle, and it's a really good sweetener. Once again, it's like honey. If you have sugar sensitivity, watch out for the maple syrup. Okay, so now we're ready to get all the ingredients mixed together and to make our delicious homemade raw chocolates. Let me run through the process again so everyone's clear with what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking the chocolate butter, and the chocolate butter, remember, is the fat that's pressed out of the chocolate bean, the cacao bean. We've melted that down so it's runny. You need to have it liquid so that you can mix through the dry ingredients and then pour it into molds to set it. But that's the one fat. Then we've also got the coconut oil, and we'll be mixing that through with chocolate butter too. Now you want to mix those two together in around 50-50 ratio, so half chocolate butter, half coconut oil. The chocolate butter has a higher melting point, so it's going to set into a snap-like chocolate. The coconut oil, that's a little bit softer, so it's going to give you that creaminess that dairy normally gives chocolate. Okay, so we've got the 2 oils. Then we need a sweetener, so we're going to be using some raw honey. We'll be putting in a little bit of agave nectar and maybe even a dash of maple syrup. Now you can choose which sweetener you like. Maple syrup, remember, and honey is for those of you who are okay with sugar and sweetness, which is not very many people. For the rest, it's agave nectar to keep those glycemic levels low. Then we're going to mix it all together by hand while we pour in the chocolate powder slowly, and then that's going to make our chocolates, which we're going to pour into the mold and set in the fridge. Let's pour the cacao butter in first, and we'll start with that one. Now if you have a look at this amazing color as we pour this out, it's this dark golden color of chocolate butter. Incredibly noble fat or oil. So we've got that in. If you guys can see that bowl, incredible color of that. Almost looks like honey or syrup. Next, we're going to be adding some of the coconut oil. You can see that's quite clear. When it sets, it goes white, and that's when you know it's turned into butter. It's an oil or a butter. It really just depends on the temperature. And if it's solid, just put it in some hot water, the glass jar, and it'll melt within a few minutes. Okay, so let's pour some of that in too. Remember quantities here, we're looking at about 50% chocolate butter, 50% coconut oil. Those are the quantities. Okay. Now we've got a really nice fat. I'm just going to stir that around to mix it through. So that's the base of our chocolate. There we go. Just stirring that through so that we've got that mix between the coconut oil and the cacao butter. Excellent. Then next we're going to add is a sweetener. So let's use some of the maple syrup. How about that? Maple syrup, that's an excellent idea. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that in. Oop, just a little. Don't want to overdo the sweetness. Remember, too much sugar gives you the sugary shakes. We don't need those. We're trying to keep away from the sugar. So get used to your chocolate bitter. That's how chocolate's meant to be eaten. It's dark, bitter chocolate. Just adjust the sweetness to taste. If you want to use some more agave, use more agave. That's a better one to use for the sugars. Otherwise, raw honey, highest quality raw honey you can find. Okay, let's add a little bit of honey too, just to add that honey flavor to it. I'm going to use a honey here which comes from an amazing beekeeper here in Cape Town. This honey has actually been infused with bee pollen, and bee pollen is one of the ultimate foods for human consumption. It's pretty much the food that can support everything your body needs in one food. That's bee pollen. And if you have allergies to bee pollen or pollen in general, eat bee pollen. It homeopathically heals you of your allergies. So we're going to add a spoon of that in too. Spoon from here. Like that amazing honey. Okay, got the honey in there too. Now that's going to give the chocolate a nice honey flavor. If you want to stick to a traditional chocolate flavor, then stick to maple syrup. And just stirring it up so that the sweetener is more or less mixed through. But once we start mixing through the chocolate butter, then it's going to mix through even better. Okay, so we got that in there. Great. We've added the honey. Honey is going to give us that amazing flavor, that rich, good, natural honey gives. We're now going to mix it all through. And you just want to grab your spoon and just stir that honey through, stir that maple syrup through so that it mixes with your fats. It doesn't have to be completely stirred in, really just so that it's not lying in a lump at the bottom. Okay, so that's mixed through. Okay, so now that we've mixed through all the liquids, we're going to start adding in the solids, and that means the cacao powder. Okay, so that's very easily done. We just put a drop in there and just knock it through. Grab our other spoon and just mix it through at the same time. And you can see straight away the color starts changing into a dark, rich looking chocolate mix. Now, a good question to ask at this point is, how much chocolate powder do we need to add in? It's really a matter of texture. If you put in too little, you're going to have a chocolate that's very fatty, but also very hard. If you put in too much, you're going to have a chocolate that's more dark and bitter, the way dark bitter chocolate normally is. But at the same time, it's going to be softer and not going to set as hard. Okay. So we're normally trying to get somewhere in between where the chocolate is easy enough, smooth enough to pour, because you need to be able to pour it into the mold. But if it's too runny, you're just going to see that when you move the mold, it's going to want to run out the mold. This is looking amazing. Who's thinking this is going to just taste amazing? It's thickening up. Remember, this is an art. It's thickening up. Remember, this is an art form. Making chocolate is not just a matter of just throwing some stuff into a bowl and thinking you're going to get chocolate. You have to work with it as though you're working with a canvas. Mixing it up, getting your energy in there, connecting to the chocolate. Something we don't do anymore is connect to our food. Okay, so that's enough of that. Leave that over there. Mixing it through. Getting to a really good consistency now where it's nice and thick. Excellent. Just about done. Voila. How amazing does that look? I think we're all going to enjoy this thoroughly. Absolutely. Now what you have is the perfect base to make any flavor chocolate out of. And what we're going to do is we're going to flavor this slightly. Because what I found is most people love to have something like a mint chocolate. And we've got some amazing mint that we're going to add to this. And that is mint essential oil. Now you have to be careful about this stuff because it's very potent, very powerful. One whiff of this, and it'll clear your sinus passages instantaneously. Wow. So one drop, that's it. No more than one drop. If you do more than one drop, you're just going to get it way too strong. Whoop. Was that more than one drop? That was one drop. Now the thing to remember with essential oils, get the best you can get. This is organic essential oil. Make sure that it's edible, whoever you buy it from. Some of the essential oils are not edible. This one is. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir this up to make sure it's completely mixed through. And you can see that the consistency is amazing. It's thick and gooey, but at the same time runny enough to be able to pour out. That's what you're looking for. So if you see that, that's awesome. Perfect consistency. We have a nice minty flavor in that. If you like other flavors, amazing thing about making your own chocolate is you can put in any flavor you like. Some of the things I really love adding in: ginger. Let me grab the ginger here and show you. Just take your ginger root and you scrape a little bit in, and it's going to be gingery. Something else which is amazing to add is orange zest. Orange zest is scraping the orange rind. Make sure it's an organic orange. Otherwise, you're going to get a whole lot of pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides, and maybe even a bit of wax. Organic orange zest. Put that in, gives you an amazing orange taste. Okay. So now the consistency of this is perfect. It's not too runny, but runny enough to pour. You can look, oh, that's just amazing. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so once your consistency is right, you really have to do the most important thing, which is to taste it. Taste test, that's going to tell you if it's sweet enough, that's going to tell you if it's chocolatey enough, if it's too fatty. You take your spoon, get your finger in there. Wow, that is delicious. Forget about putting your finger in it, just eat the whole spoon. Why is chocolate good for us? Let me rephrase that. Why is cacao good for us? Cacao, being the fruit of a jungle tree, is a natural food, and what they found is that cacao is the most chemically complex substance on the planet. That's why you can't get fake chocolate at the moment. Fake vanilla you can do, because there are only so many flavor molecules. With cacao, there's so many that there's no way they can make knockoffs of the stuff. And when you look at the bean with that purple color, you can see there's something going on there. But if we talk about why it's actually good for us, what cacao has in it is something called magnesium. Magnesium is an important mineral for your heart and your entire cardiovascular system, and that is abundant in raw chocolate. That's another reason why you normally give chocolates at Valentine's Day, because cacao is the food of the heart. So we need to get that in. So besides the magnesium content, another reason why chocolate is amazing for us is for antioxidants. For those of you who know about antioxidants, antioxidants are the guys that stop us from rusting from the inside out. So we need to make sure we're getting enough of those in to make sure we don't age prematurely, get wrinkles, and have our organs collapse on us. So raw cacao has around 10 times more antioxidants in it than cooked cacao or cooked chocolate. So you really want to make sure you get the raw cacao to make sure you're getting all the antioxidants. Now, chocolate is the highest antioxidant concentration food on the planet. Now that's amazing. Most people don't know about that. But it's higher than goji berry, it's higher than acai. It is the top. So eat as much chocolate as you can to get as many antioxidants as you can. Brilliant news. Another reason why cacao is amazing. Anyone out there ever felt like when they're not so happy, maybe when they're a little depressed, what food do you normally want to eat? Chocolate, of course. Now there's a good reason for that. Chocolate has a lot of brain chemical stimulating factors in it. It has things like anandamine, it has things like tryptophan in it. All these chemicals help the brain create more serotonin, and that serotonin really means that you feel happier, you feel lighter, you feel more energized, you feel more excited about life, you feel more juiced. This is all good, and that's what cacao gives you. Now let's be clear. Normal chocolate gives you a tiny bit of that, so you feel a little bit better, so you eat the whole chocolate bar. This stuff is concentrated and potent. You need 5 to 10 of these beans and you're going to feel amazing. So chocolate is amazing for us. It's the best news you've probably ever heard. Well, maybe not the best news ever, but it's certainly right up there. You can eat as much chocolate, but remember it has to be raw, and there are very few places you can get raw chocolate from because it's a very new discovery or rediscovery. Add it into your diet, add it into your breakfast, add it into your lunches, add it into your dinners. Really, a few beans a day, you're going to feel amazing. 90% of the goodness gets lost when it's cooked, so I have to stress it again, it has to be raw cacao. Now what we need to do is pour that into the molds. And the molds that I use are fun. That's the thing. You can use straight ice blocks that you pour ice into in your fridge, but what I've got is some silicone molds. These over here, I've got some hearts and some stars. So you take your mixture and you pour it one at a time into your heart, to the next one. And this is where you get a chance to make a real mess. Making chocolate is not about being clean or being tight, it's about getting it over as much stuff as you possibly can. because it's fun. Kids love this too. Get them involved and they're going to have an amazing time making chocolates. A little bit more on this side. Okay. There we go. Flatten it all out a bit. Voila. Done. So that is what you end up with. A mold with chocolate, and you can see it's solid enough to not fall out when I wobble it. You put that in your freezer or in your fridge. Freezer is going to make it set very fast. Fridge is going to make it take a little longer, but it won't make it go hard and crystalline on top. So I prefer normally putting it in the fridge. So I'm going to pass that over to Baron. She's going to put that in the fridge for us. And then that's going to take probably about 10-15 minutes to set, depending on how cold your fridge is. When it's ready, you'll be able to pop it out, and it'll just spring right out, and you'll have the most amazing chocolate ever. So let's put that in the fridge. Okay, welcome back. We have the chocolates. They've been in the fridge, and Baron is going to bring them out and let us taste how amazing they've come out.
Looks bad.
Do they look good?
They look pretty good.
Awesome.
Popping up here. Yep.
Ooh, so if you look at that, amazing, solid textured chocolate. You want to try some of that? Well done. Is it good?
It's divine.
This chocolate has the amazing texture of being smooth and creamy, but it doesn't have that overpowering, sickly sweetness that you normally get out of a chocolate bar. And you also don't have the chemical aftertaste you normally have after eating a chocolate bar. Now, you may have no idea what I'm talking about, but try, eat a normal chocolate bar, then make your own raw chocolates and see the difference. It's astounding. Your palate is clean, it tastes amazing, and you feel great. This can definitely be done at least twice or thrice a day. Great. So we've made the chocolate, it's amazing, and you can do this at home too. You can get all of these raw chocolate products in your local health shop. And the thing about making this chocolate is you have control over how amazing your ingredients are. You put it in the fridge, your kids are going to love this chocolate, it tastes great, and you're giving them super nutrition in a way that they're going to love it. Most people are trying to cram vegetables down kids' mouths. That's good, keep trying, but give them the chocolate. They're going to think they're cheating, but you're actually giving them super nutrition. And if you want to cheat a little bit, add some barley grass powder to the chocolate mixture, a little hemp protein powder, maybe a little bit of hemp oil for the omega-3s, just a dash. Mix that through, they won't even know it's there, they won't taste it, the chocolate is too strong, and just make sure they don't catch you doing it. That's how you get super nutrition into kids, and that's how you get super nutrition into yourself. So just remember, you can get all of the ingredients from your health shop, take it home, make the recipe. On my website, I've got all the recipes there. You can go log online if you've forgotten the recipe, download it, do it at home, get into making your own chocolates. You're really going to enjoy the journey. Make sure you join us again next week where we're going to make another amazing raw food delight. It might not be chocolate, but I guarantee you it's going to be good. So see you then. Goodbye. Adios.